Jungkook is known as the Golden Magne. An idol with extraordinary talent, the global spotlight, and millions of eyes always watching him. But few truly know that he endured all of this when he wasn't even ready to become an adult. He entered the Korean entertainment industry at a very young age. While other teenagers were still living freely, Jungkook had already left home, his family, and endured long days as a trainee. Relentless practice. Unrelenting demands. Small mistakes felt huge. Over time, BTS became known worldwide, and the burden on Jungkook's shoulders increased. He wasn't just singing for himself. He was performing for the group, for the fans, for the world. And that's where the pressure began to shift. Jungkook was known as perfect in the public eye, but inside, he often felt inadequate. When praised, he instead saw his flaws. When performing well, he asked himself, "Am I worthy?" There's one thing that's rarely talked about Jungkook. Guilt. Guilt for feeling like his success came too quickly. Guilt for being afraid of disappointing others. Guilt for setting his own standards of perfection. Jungkook's greatest pressure isn't just from the media or the public, but from himself. He always wants to be better than yesterday. Stronger. More perfect. The problem is, those standards never end. And the higher he stands, the greater the fear of falling. Behind the grand stage and the cheers of thousands, Jungkook remains human. He's tired. He has doubts. He's afraid of not being good enough. But the entertainment world rarely allows room for vulnerability. There are moments when Jungkook chooses to remain silent. Not because he doesn't have a story, but because not all of them can be shared. His silence is often mistaken for strength, when in fact, it's his way of surviving. Many people envy Jungkook's life. Popularity. Fame. Love from all over the world. But there was one thing he couldn't relive. A normal teenage years. While other kids were playing and finding their identity, Jungkook was learning to enjoy the world. And the most painful losses are the things we never had. As he grew older, Jungkook slowly began to change. Not becoming tougher, but more honest with himself. He began to understand that not every day has to be perfect. Not every performance has to be extraordinary. Sometimes, just surviving is brave enough. He learned to accept himself, with all his strengths and weaknesses. And perhaps, that's where Jungkook's greatest strength lies. Not in his perfection, but in his resilience. If Jungkook is still standing on stage today, it's not because he never gets tired. It's because he chooses to keep going despite his fatigue. And his story isn't over. And perhaps, this is what we often forget about Jungkook. Behind the spotlight, behind the applause, he remains an ordinary human being learning to be strong every day. If you see Jungkook smiling on stage today, remember, that smile was born from a difficult journey. And if this story makes you see Jungkook differently, there are probably many other idols who also carry similar burdens, but choose to remain silent. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. If you want more stories about the other side of the Korean idol world that's rarely talked about, make sure you don't miss the next video.